the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act is concerned, the government has decided in principle, and we have repeatedly said so, that every commitment made in the Act, in letter and spirit, is to be honoured by the central government. Already we have released on account a sum of rupees 3975.5 crores towards revenue deficit of the year 2014-15. This is only part of the amount. The balance amount also would be released in installments. We have already given 2,500 crores as support for the state capital. A further amount of 1,050 has been given for backward area grants. There is a whole list of several institutions, central institutions, which had to be established in Andhra Pradesh. One by one, each one of the institutions has either started functioning or will start function, and we stand committed to that. The Polavaram Project, that is the irrigation part of the project, has been declared a national project. And therefore, as on 1/4/2014, from which date it becomes the national project, the funding from that date onwards is going to be met by the central government. Now, what is the process of funding will be decided. One process is that NABARD would fund it and we'll return the loan back to NABARD. 100%. The future after 1/4/2014 will be 100%. Because that is the date on which it becomes a national project. We have further decided that on behalf of the central government, we will authorize the state government to do the construction part because the state has an interest in the project. Now, this is a very major announcement because Polavaram was one of the issues which was concerned with the Act itself. And from the date when it is declared a national project, its entire funding would be, as of 1/4/2014, whatever is the funding fixed will be met by the central government.
What will be the estimated cost?
Well, that you see, there are various calculations. We are more on the principles. I'm not. There is a whole list of institutions which have already started, and some which have to start. Assessments will be made with regard to them. Then comes the 14th Finance Commission, which has also made some recommendations with regard to the revenue deficit. Now, that is with regard to revenue deficit from 2015 till 2020. That is being revenue deficit for the first 2 years, it's being paid up to date. So whatever is the identified revenue deficit is being paid, and of course the 42% share is also being paid. There were 2 tax concessions which we have announced. One with regard to accelerated depreciation and one with regard to the investment allowance. And the CBDT chairperson is here. The relevant notifications with regard to them are going to be issued forthwith. Then comes the issue with regard to the statement made by Dr. Manmohan Singh, who on 20th of February 2014 had made a statement after Venkaiah ji and I had raised this issue in the Rajya Sabha, and that was in 6 parts. Now, 5 of those are really clarifications which are covered by the Act itself. There is no dispute, which are going to be implemented. With regard to the 6th, a legitimate dispute or an issue had arisen. Because after the statement came the report of the 14th Finance Commission, which said that only special dispensation for hill states and northeast states, and all others are to be compensated only by way of the additional revenue grant if there is a shortfall, and by the horizontal sharing of 42%. So 42 plus revenue deficit will take care of it. That's what the Finance Commission said, and we are only saying special provision only with regard to northeast and the hill states. Now there was an understandable aspiration of the people of Andhra Pradesh that on the understanding that a certain special category would be given to us, we agreed to this, and subsequently the 14th Finance Commission has come, which has said that nobody gets special category, that ceases to exist. We have quoted in our note the relevant observations of the 14th Finance Commission. Now, without getting further into the issue, we examined this. And since the advantage of what they get by virtue of the former Prime Minister's statement is a monetary advantage that you get because of the status, that you get a particular, the centre has to bear a higher share in the schemes of the state. We have decided to give a special assistance measure for the state of Andhra Pradesh, wherein an amount equivalent to what they would have got if that statement could have been implemented will be compensated to the state by virtue of externally aided projects. That all projects which come into Andhra Pradesh which are externally aided, which otherwise the state would have paid for, the word we used is an equivalent advantage to the state which they would have got, because if that statement could have been implemented, we will give them an exact equivalent advantage through the externally aided projects, so that in spirit, at least, we are able to honor the substance of that statement of 20th February also, even though, as per the Finance Commission's report, those category of states now ceases to exist. This is what we have decided, and of course this will also be in terms of what the fourth, that is the recommendations which have been made by the Niti Aayog, which has concerned itself with regard to specific calculations, etc. Now, since it is quite late and we have worked out this arrangement, we will be loading tomorrow morning a detailed note giving details of all this on the website. Now, this will be subject to, of course, its ratification wherever required by the central cabinet itself, because that's a procedural formality which we have to follow.
How long it will be, sir? This extra level added support?
No, this goes on for a period of 5 years. Because you see that special category was to be for a period of 5 years, that is the life of the 14th Finance Commission.
But you demanded for 10 years.
Well, that's all right, because it was made for 5 years, so we'll give an equivalent for 5 years. And then there are several other issues, some of which are under examination, the concerned ministries, the railway zone issue, the steel plant issue, the Home Ministry's decision with regard to the delimitation of constituencies, those changes which are to be made. There are several other issues which are under consideration. So I think for today, what I have announced is enough. These are all matters being considered by different ministries, which will take a specific view in the matter. No, tax incentives which we have given already, the notification with regard to that will be issued immediately by the CBDT.
Will there be any fund for tax incentive, for the tax incentive?
Well, let us now see what happens to the post-GST regime.
Industry corridors in
The Commerce Ministry is seized of the issue in relation to the Chennai-Bangalore industrial corridor itself and the Vizag-Chennai corridor. that matter is at a fairly advanced stage of the consideration. Now, these are all issues. When we take a decision with regard to this, each one of these ministries would then be specifically briefing you on this.
Assistance to capital.
That is already under the Act, which we have given already partly. 2,500 crores is gone. More will, whatever else is due will come as per the calculations. That Niti Aayog makes the calculations.
And the DPRs.
How much is this revenue deficit in the first year?
You see, there are calculation issues involved in this because the revenue deficit is based on the routine normal expenditure and not any additional or special expenditure incurred. So there is a formula that they have which the Department of Expenditure, the Niti Aayog and the state of Andhra Pradesh calculate amongst themselves.
So what about the railway loans? Will it be changed to Vijayawada?
I am not getting into the location. That's your internal issue. It's a matter which Mr. Suresh Prabhu will consider and take an appropriate decision.
So, sir, what about one of the major demand made by both the states regarding increasing the number of the assembly?
That's a matter which the Home Ministry is seized off.
Yes, sir. This additional EAP amount will be repaid the central government or they also
No, that central government has to repay.
this is concerned.
There is a formulation, just as central schemes used to be funded 90-10. Similarly, whatever is the quantum of amount which gets changed will be paid by the central government as far as the external aid program is.
The limit will come central government or state government for those amounts.
So that has to be paid by the central government. There's a set formulation in the ratio in which the EAPs are to be repaid back.
So there will be no
So the EAPs are repaid back in the ratio of 90-10 or 80-20. That's the normal procedure under which they are.
So this special assessment measure will continue till 2020.
From 2015 to 2020, 5 years.
19.
That because Prime Minister then Dr. Manmohan Singh had said for 5 years, so we are doing it for 5 years.
Have you put any major maximum limit for this EAP?
No, the amount which central government will bear will be equivalent to what they would have got otherwise. If over and above that they have any EAP projects, they can take their own. In the routine, they can have their own EAP projects.
कंपेयर किससे करते हैं? महात्मा गांधी से, पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू से, अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी से। हिम्मत देखिए, ऐसा लगता है मानो कौन सा किला फतह करके मंत्री साहब आए हैं और कौन सी चार चांद उनके नाम पे लग गया है कि उनके नाम के साथ महात्मा गांधी, पंडित नेहरू और अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जैसे नेताओं के नाम को जोड़ने की कोशिश की जा रही है।